So today we will be doing a quick workshop on multi-threading socket. We will create our own chat application, and then we will see how we can create a video calling application with Python. So basically today is Sunday, so I thought let's have some quick workshop on this thing. So the guys who are from Earth, so basically it is not for all the Earth centers. That's why it's not mentioned in your groups. But basically, some of you are here, so let's start. So basically, I will be sharing my screen, and then a couple of cool things we will see together, and we will see how we can play with these things, and we can create some amazing application. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible to you guys, and you guys can hear me properly, right? So before starting anything, so first of all, we should understand. Okay, so someone is saying, yeah, today is the first class on this from cards. Today is the first class, so we are starting from today. And then what I am planning is for like I will take one or two more sessions, and then we will cover all the topics which I have mentioned. Okay, so let's start what our main focus is. So basically, you guys, I hope like most of you are familiar with the Python programming languages. So you guys are familiar with Python programming languages, and here we will see some important concepts in Python. Okay, like socket programming, why we use it, where we use it, how we do coding, every part we will see today. Okay, and if you know about multi-threading, I hope you have heard about multi-threading in some other programming languages also. So we will see about multi-threading. Okay, basically what we wanted to do is what are these concepts? I will explain you while we will be discussing further. But basically what the agenda is for today's class is, let's say if we have a one operating system, whether it is Windows, Linux, Mac, whatever. Let's say we have one operating system with name A, and then we have another operating system with name B. Okay, this is also operating system, and they wanted to communicate together. Okay, they wanted to chat together. We have now for this we have a lot of ways. Okay, we have even some if both of them are from, let's say, Linux operating system, then we have some bash command which we can use to communicate, to chat, to pass some data from A to B. Let's say if A wanted to say hi, then it will be printed here. They can communicate together. But here, as we are, we know about Python, basic Python we know about. So we will see how we can do with our own Python code. Because till now, if you have seen this, then you might be using some pre-created commands, some pre-created application. But let's see if we develop it from our own end, then how it would be, how it will look like. Okay, because if we are creating from our own, then here we will have the complete independence. We can make it in whatever way we want, right? So basically, this is would be the agenda for today. And now let's see how we can do. So for like here, I need two operating systems. So how I can arrange two operating systems? So if you, I think most of you know about virtualization, the concept. So here I have VirtualBox, and in VirtualBox, you can see I have one Red Hat operating system is running. So if you guys don't know about it, no problem. You guys can go to AWS Cloud, launch one operating system from there. Even you will not need this also. We have some ways we can do. We can communicate like this, like from operating system A to B in one Windows OS also. How we will see it in some time. But for now, to make it a little bit more good, we will be I'm just using one more operating system. This is my Linux operating system. So you guys don't know, no need to know much on Linux right now. We will just run our Python application here to make it visible. So let me increase the appearance for you guys. So let me make it bold with font size 18. Now I hope it will be look more good. So let's clear our screen. Basically, what we want is from one place we will communicate to the another place, right? And how we are going to communicate, we will be using here socket programming. Now, before doing that, let's have some more theory. So if you guys have to communicate between two devices, so we need couple of things. First of all, there should be a network between them. They should have an IP address, right? And and whatever program we are running here, it should be running in a port number. Okay, so because if you know, in one operating system at a time, thousands of different programs are running. Now, if someone is coming, some program is coming from this operating system to this operating system, then how this program will know out of these thousands programs to which program I have to connect. For this, we provide every program a unique port number. Okay, so here these three things which we will be needed here. Now, how we can do it? So for this, we have two ways. So we have two protocols, which is basically UDP and TCP. So we will see both of these protocols, but today we will focus on UDP. Okay. Now, what is the difference between them? So if you talk about UDP, then in UDP, so it's something like in UDP, it is something like if A wanted to communicate with B, and let's say if A wanted to send hi, okay, if A wanted to send here hi, so what will happen if A wanted to send hi, then A will send hi, then for two, even like for A, it will not matter where this hi has been received by B or not. Means from his end, he will send hi. Now might be there with some network failure, might be B program is not up, so might be that program B will not receive, but A will do his part. A will just send his whatever he wanted to send, he will just send it. So basically in UDP, what will happen is we don't have any session. So if you heard about something like session, but in TCP we have. So what happened in TCP basically, if we have some application like some operating system A and B, now as A will send and let's say a text to B, then A will ask B to acknowledge that text like you have received that text. So something like whenever we reach home, we call someone like, okay, I have reached my home. So it is something like we have acknowledged like the data, let's say, hi, I wanted to send that hi has been received by B. For this, what will happen is A will send this data, then B will acknowledge like I have received this data to A back. So now what will happen is first step will be A will send data. Now as B will receive it, we will send back a signal that that A, I have received your data. Now this will be the second thing. Now A will say, okay, you have received my data. Now I will say, let's say a third data I will send, or B will send parallelly some data. So it would be something like we are doing here, a chatting. Okay, and in live we are talking to each other. We are sending data, whatever data it could be. Here for showing you the practical, I am just telling it like it would be a chat application, but it could be anything. So here, what is happening in TCP? So it is little bit like secure. Why secure? Because if A is sending some critical information to B, then A should know whether that information was received by B or it got broken, someone has hacked, or the network was not good, whatever. So A should know that. If A will think like, yeah, this data, think like your data is not that much important, but UDP is UDP is fast in comparison to TCP, because in UDP we don't have any concept like acknowledgement and all. Okay, so like A will just do his part, A will just send his data, but whether B is receiving it or not, it's not A's responsibility. I hope it is a little bit clear. Let me make it more clear with some example. So if you know about TCP, then you must be known about protocol like SMTP. You must know about protocol like HTTP. Okay, the secure one also HTTPS. You must be known about FTP, file transfer protocol. So all of these protocols are dependent, like are on TCP. They are made by on TCP. Means if you, let's say for an example, like here I am using, wait, let me show you. Here, like I am using HTTP protocol. So if I, let's say if I type Canva, so here as I will send, like here, as I have searched for Canva, now our Google server will send some data to my operating system, that is Windows. Now we will acknowledge, my Windows will acknowledge like, yes, Google, I have received your data. Because if we will not acknowledge that I have received data, then this further information is for no use. Now A knows like we have got this data. Now we can click on any link that A will do further communication. Let's say we click here. Now again, it will go to Google server. Google will find this address and Google will show some data, something like this, if you know about. So here, the HTTP protocol which we are using here, it is also using this TCP method. Why it is important? Because let's say I just search here Canva or something, but if Google don't get to know like whether you have received this or not, then Google can't show you this page, the complete page Google can't show, because Google is not sure you have received the result which it has shared, it has sent. So basically, it might look a little bit complex, but it is something very simple. It happens in our day-to-day life. What happens is, if you know about session, so what happens is, if you know about session, yeah, if you know about session, so basically in TCP, what we do is we will do a handshaking. Okay, handshaking means when we will have to communicate with we will some data. They will say, I have received this. Now they have handshake like, yeah, we are in connect. We can talk together now. Okay, till the time we don't close the program, we can talk together. Okay, now a session is being made here. Now further communication they can do, whatever further communication they want, they can do. Okay, this is something like in TCP, you have seen in file transfer protocol, FTP. So ever if you have shared some file with this protocol, why here we are using TCP? Because TCP makes sure each part of data, every byte of data is received by B or not. Even if you miss one byte of data, then it might be a little bit critical. And if you are transferring some file or with HTTP, if you are transferring some important data, because normally we browse internet, a lot of data is there, right? If we are browsing, if we miss some part of this, then it would be not a good experience. Even a lot of things will crack. So that's why here we are using TCP, because it makes sure every part of every bit is being transferred and it is received by the receiver. Okay. Now basically the thing which happen is one will be a server, second will be a receiver. A will keep on sending, B will just keep on acknowledging like, yeah, I have got it, and then this communication will go on. But in UDP, we don't have something like that. A will just send data, B will either be receiving it or not. It's not A's responsibility. So both of them are important, but the UDP is little bit, that's why it is very fast, because here we don't need that extra step of acknowledgement. And that's why in somewhere in live streaming, if you see, we sometimes use UDP. Why in live streaming we use, let's say a sport is going on, even if we get a buffering of 1 second or 2 seconds, let's say 2-second data we miss somewhere in internet, it got missed. My client might be haven't received that 2 second of video. It doesn't matter to him, because it is a live broadcasting is going on. He will just skip to the live part. Okay, so it doesn't matter if he missed some part of that, right? So somewhere, but that's why here in sometime in streaming, in broadcasting, that's why we use UDP, because it makes the thing very faster. And even if you miss some part, and it didn't matter too much, right? But in TCP, if data is very critical to you, then you will have to make sure that it is being received by B. That's why here we use TCP. So a little bit idea I have given to you. If you still like have some doubt, then okay, no problem at all. We will see it together. So we will do the coding part of this, and then it would be a little bit more clear to you, right? So how we can do it? So let's do one thing. Okay. Let's do one thing. Let's talk about multi-threading first, and then we will come and we will create our own chat application, right? So for that, I am using a Jupyter notebook. So if you guys know about Anaconda, so basically Anaconda. Yes. So basically Anaconda you can install. With Anaconda you can install any Python version, as well as Anaconda also provide a lot of softwares like Jupyter Notebook, which you can use for your data science work. You can do your coding, a lot of things you can do. You can go and you can install Anaconda. Even a lot of more benefits we have with Anaconda. We can create virtual environments. So let's say in company you are, and if you have to work on multiple projects, if you have to work on, let's say you are a company and you have to work on 3 projects, and all of these 3 projects depend on different Python versions, right? Now in one operating system you can install just one Python version. Let's say one of the project depends on Python version 3.9, one depend on 3.8, third one depend on 3.8.6. Now it is not that much possible to install all of these 3 versions if you just use Python installation from python.org website. There we can use some tool like Anaconda. We have some other ways also, but we can use Anaconda. With Anaconda, we can, in one operating system, we can use all these 3 Python versions. We can create some virtual environment. Okay, and all of these will be independent to each other. They will it is independent environment, this is independent environment, this is independent environment, right? So there we can use Anaconda. A lot of more facilities it provides. So it is not part of this program, but we will see sometime later. But now let's start with Anaconda first. With Anaconda, here I am using Jupyter Notebook. You guys can install Anaconda and then just type this Jupyter Notebook. Even if you have some normal Python ID in Visual Studio Code, you can use that also. But I'm pretty much more comfortable with this Jupyter Notebook. That's why I'm using here Jupyter Notebook. Right. So let's create a Python 3 file. So it's taking time. Okay, let me check. We have something. So, yeah, it's loading. So let's wait for this one. Yes, here we have, now we have a couple of cells here which we will be using. Now, basically here I'm going to talk about multi-threading, why we need multi-threading. So for example, you are doing some Python code, and let's say if you have created a function. So I hope it is visible to you guys. So if we have created a function like function A, and then in function A, we have a couple of lines. We have written our all algorithm for any particular task. So let's say here, if I have written I am a something like that, then let's say here it is doing some more tasks it is doing. Let's say it is doing it here. We have written about complete algorithms of thousands of lines. Let's say this is a function which we have created. So if you know about object-oriented programming, there we create functions, classes, right? And so that we can manage our code in the correct manner. So let's say if we have created this function, that's pretty well. If we have to call this, we can just call this, and this will be working fine. Now, let's say we have one more function. So let's say we have one more function here. And let's say here, we have our second algorithm. The second algorithm is something like I am P, and some more thing. So some more thing, blah, 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 we have. So let's say we have these 2 functions. We can call them anytime. Okay, there's no problem at all. But let's say if we have something like here, we have some loop. Let's say here, if we have some loop for infinite loop, let's say if I have here, check. Now we will be using this concept in our chat application. So I will show you there. Now, basically, if we have a function like this, and if I call this function, so you can see it is keep on running, right? It's keep on running, and till that time I can't run my function B. It would be keep on waiting till the time this function is running. We can't run this function. But let's say the use case is we want this B function also run parallelly. We want A is also running. We want B also running. Let's say we have some use case of that, and believe me, guys, we have a lot of use case for this one. This thing. So if we have 2 functions, and if you can treat function as a lot of algorithms which we have written here, we have a B function, a lot of algorithms which we have written here. At a time, let's say if it is our CPU is running, let's say a function A only, but we want B also run parallelly. Let's say B is doing some tasks. Let's say it is keep on taking some backup in every 30 seconds, or let's say B is sending some mails, whatever tasks we have written here. let's say we want B also run parallelly. Okay. So why it is not running here? Basically, CPU support this thing. So if we have a CPU we all have a CPU in our operating system. Now CPU gives some time to all the functions which we wanted to run. At the time A is running, CPU is running them, but CPU is very fast. A lot of CPU time is wasting here because let's say CPU can run uh, let's say 1,000 lines per second. Okay, but here we are just running, let's say per second, we are just running two lines here, right? So a lot of CPU speed is wasting here, and even after that also we can't run our second feature. Now for that, what we can do is CPU support that multi-threading concept. So even if you go for buying any mobile, you see about multi-threading, right? You see about threads, like how every core, like in CPU we have cores, right? So if you ever buy a phone or a laptop, we see for that, like if we have a 8 GB RAM, okay, let's say you are buying a mobile for that, and if you will see there how many cores we have in core, how many threads we have. Okay, you always check for that. Even if you ever watch any mobile unboxing video, there they discuss about these points because it is very critical. Why critical? Because this threads define how much parallel operations you can do. Even if you think about your mobile, then parallelly in your mobile, you are also listening to music. Parallelly, you are, let's say, doing some chatting in WhatsApp. Parallelly, sometimes you visit YouTube also. All the things are working parallelly, right? How they are working parallelly? Why? What is the things they are doing? So basically, a multi-threading concept is working out there. Your CPU support that. Okay, your chip support that in your mobile and in your laptop. What it do is we have in every core, we have a lot of threads which can be created, and per thread we can run a process, whether it's the process of running like listening to music from Spotify or whatever. So like this, that's why in your mobile, if you have multi-threading and if you have a lot of threads, that's why some mobiles support more parallel process, but some don't. Say in some of the programs, in some of the mobile, you see like we can't run multiple applications parallelly. It will keep on hanging. Why? Because it don't have that much threads to run that, right? So that was one of the concepts here. Basically, what we wanted to see here in our code, like you still see B is not running. It is keep on running A because it is in a loop. For to just show you this function is even like this hang up. So let me restart and clear output. So what is basically I am showing you here. Let's say if here I have just to show you here I have used while loop. But let's say here if I have a lot of code here, which takes let's say 30 minutes to run. A big algorithm, some machine learning algorithms you have created, which takes let's say 10 minutes to run. Till that time you can't run your second application, second function. So this is not good, right? If you want in your application, you can do multiple things, then you should support, this should be supported. How we can do this? So if we have to do this in Python, then we have a library and it would be automatically installed whenever you will install Python because it is a very common library. We use it. You will not have to install it like pip install threading. Okay, so the name is also same threading. Okay, so you can import threading. And now what we want is in threading, we want is if we have two functions here, we have A and B. We want both of them to be run. So here for threading, we can create some tasks. So like here, if I create a task A or it's a task 1, here I'm saying threading. In threading, we have a lot of functions. Okay, so one of the function is thread. I hope it is going clear to you guys. And let's say if I am creating like what here I am doing is see what happened is basically if you wanted to know what is happening behind the scene. So basically, let me clear the screen. A lot of things we have discussed here. So basically, what basically we are doing here is this is our Python. Okay, and this is uh, we as a developer, we are writing some code. Python will take that code, and Python will interact with CPU, RAM, and everything, kernel. Python will interact with them and will do our task. Okay. So in different programming languages, we have different ways to create threads. But in Python, because Python understands this way, this library Python understands, which we are using here threading. So Python knows this library threading. So we will be using this. Now from here, we are telling our Python interpreter, like Python, I want here 2 threads to be created. Similarly, we can create thousands of threads if you want. And we want those thousands of processes running parallelly. Now Python in your term will interact with these hardwares, and it will tell to kernel, like kernel, I want to create this much thread in CPU, and this will work. So behind the scene for us, it is very simple. As a developer, if you see, we just have to write some couple of codes and that it is done. But behind the scene for Python, it is interacting with CPU, it is interacting with the kernel, and it is doing a lot of things behind the scene, right? So this is how it is happening. So just wanted to tell you. So let's say I'm saying I want to create a thread, and my target will be this function A, because normally while we are creating any code, we always make sure to create a lot of functions. So that's why here normally we mention like I wanted to run this function A. Okay, not like here I just signed a code like print or something. Here we normally mention the function which we wanted to run. Now I want this Python, you interact with CPU and you ask them to create 2 threads. So now my second thread will be task 2. Let's say this is just a name I am giving to my thread, because let's say in future I will create thousands of threads, and how I will remember their name. So basically here I'm just getting 2 threads, so I'm giving them 2 different names. Now if I just give in a simple way, thread is a function which takes so here you can see the help document. Here it asks for target, it asks for some other arguments, but basically if here what we are providing is target. Here even if you go with that, this class is the set of control, you can find some details on this about all the arguments which we are writing. So here it is think the callable object to be invoked by the run. So we will see how we are running this, but here you can see some details about this set, right? So here our target will be B. Okay, so we will see here like here we are creating a target for this one and this, and that's it. Let's run it now. Okay, it is saying A. Why? Because I think I have closed my code once, so I will not call this again, otherwise it will keep on running. I will not call this. I will not call this one also. So otherwise, now the thread is being created for both the things. Okay, now what happened is what Python has done is Python know how to, for which function they have to create thread, but they haven't run yet. Now to run it yet, we will say task 1, and we will say start. Why we are saying this? We are saying thread 1, this thread please start, and similarly for our task 2, we will say this is also a function, and this function is all coming from this threading. Okay, so if you wanted to know more about it, then you can go to library and in python.org, and there you will find some more details. Now here I am saying after starting this thread, I wanted these to, now you can call these functions the way you call, right? Like say this is a B function, this is an A function. So here if I want to write A function, then B function. Now what here I have done is, if you wanted to know is just I have just, let's say here till now I have just declared. Now here I have call. Now, after calling this thread, I am saying, okay, this function I will be running. Now you can call this function because this is now interlinked with a thread. So basically, when you will call this function, the same way you are calling a function, you can call it. Okay, here if you want have some values, then you can pass here. Let's say if your function is taking some values, then you can pass it. But for now, it is done. Now here thread is running. So here you can see now basically we are getting some data from A also. Behind the scene, this B is also running. We are getting this B also. So here IMB was from this function. And now see A is running, A is running. So somewhere A is running. You will see somewhere B is also running. This is how both of the program will run. If you just scroll it, both A and B here will run. So what basically we are doing is, just this point. What basically we are doing is we are saying I wanted to now run both the functions. Okay, why does we have got B once? That's what I was checking because here I haven't used any loop. So it just printed one time. But here you can see it was printed one time here I and B. But here also if I use a while loop, then you will see both the things will be running parallelly. Why here I am just using while loops? Don't worry about that. Here just to show you that here if I have thousands of lines, that so here just show you that if I have some big process running, just to show that I am using a while loop because so that its function will not end. Otherwise, if I write something like this, it will function will run, it will just end after doing first call, right? So here if I here also if I use a while loop just to show you how it is working, and here if I do this, now first of all I will have to stop my kernel. So now you like this, you can stop your program basically, and now just to show you this one. Now you will see A is running, B is running, B, A, B. Now all of them A is running here. Now here till now here B is running. Why it is like sometimes you will see A is more, sometimes B will be more. Why it is something like that? Because it depends on how much CPU is free. Okay, how much time this is taking. Basically both of them are print statements. So behind scene they will take approx similar time. But here you can see somewhere B will be printing, somewhere IMB, somewhere A will be printed, somewhere B will be printed. So basically both the functions are running parallelly now. Okay, this is one of the things which we can do. I hope it is clear to you guys. So let me stop this because it would I have created an infinite loop, so it will keep on running. So basically, this is one of the important use case you would have noticed in a lot of programs, even a desktop application or mobile application, they use similar way. Even if you wanted to create some threads, let's say if you want to create a mobile application, so we have a lot of frameworks, let's say Flutter you are using. So there also we have ways where we can ask our Flutter, like please talk with my Android device and ask it to create 2 threads and then run these threads parallelly. Let's say your application, you have created some application which want 2 things to be run parallelly. There also you can do. Here I'm just creating a Python application. So this is a way we create multi-threading in Python, but it is a concept which is being used in all the programming language. Okay. So do you guys have any questions? Then let me know till now. Now we will proceed to create our on chat application. So I hope it is still not clear. Yes, it is the same way. Okay, great. Thank you. So now what we will do is, let me do one more thing. Let me create one separate file, and here we will be seeing how we can create socket programming, how here we can do, and how here we can create a chat application. So for this, we need a library name as socket. So let's import that. It will be automatically present whenever we install Python. A lot of common libraries always install. So I think socket will be always there. You don't need to install it separately because these are something which we keep on using. Now, here, as I have talked, I think somewhere here, if you have to communicate between them, then you will need something like you will need some network between them, whether it is a wireless or via wire. You will need IP. at least IP. If you have host name also, then you can use, but you will need IP in both the operating system to communicate, right? Then you will need some port number where your program is running. Same thing we will be using here. So basically what I am doing here, first of all, to create a program that says socket, and to create a socket, we will need to provide two things. Let me show you help if I can show you. Okay, help is not coming, so wait. Fine. So what I wanted to show you, if I have to create a socket, socket is something like, if you know about Prerequisite, the connection we say, no? If I say something is like socket, we are going to create a connection between them. So we will be doing some binding. We will talk about it later in this course. But basically, we are creating a socket where we will, like here, I have an IP. Here I have an port number in which my Python program will run. And here we have some networking. We will bind them. Okay. So that this IP will be associated with this port number. And my kernel will know this. If this IP, let's say this is my operating system IP is associated with this port number for this program. That's the Python program which we have created. What basically here I am talking about, I will explain. So let's do some coding. For this, we will need two things. So what we will need is, so here, like what IP I'm using. So for that, I will have to tell my socket, like for address, here I am using IP. Okay, so here we have a couple of more address family, but here, basically most of the cases we use IP as address family. Basically, we have some DNS source name also which we can use it, right? So if you have to use that, so you can say my IP, my address family. So just my address family, my AF. And then you can have to define something like socket dot. And here only, here what here I'm defining, here I'm talking about IP. So here I'm saying my AF means address family. Let me check. I think it would be something like AF. Basically, if you don't know about why I'm used here, then what we can do is, if you search about socket programming address family, then you might get some address family, socket address family. You might get some documentation on that. And if you search here for Python, then you will get exact line. So here, see, this is the address family which I am using, AFINET. So AFINET socket address family. Reports communication between processes that run on the same system or on different systems. So basically, in the starting of this session, I have mentioned here I am using a different system to create to do this chat application, but in same system also we can do. If you don't have this virtual box or something, then in same system also we can do, and we will talk about it. Like this, we have a couple of more address family, but here I am using this AFINET address family. So here, let's me talk about, let's say, chat application. So here I will be using this address family. Now one more thing here which I have to tell to my socket, because my socket can work on both UDP protocol we can create, and we can also work on TCP. Okay, so here we can work on both of them. Now I will also have to tell like what I wanted to use here. Okay, I wanted to use here UDP, or I wanted to use here TCP. So let's say here if I mention like my UDP, and here if I mention like socket, and in socket I wanted to mention. Now how I have found this, then again we can search here like socket programming Python. Something like this. Wait, let me connect my charger. Just wait a minute. That's not good. So UDP, if you wanted to use UDP, then what you will use here. So basically, what I want to tell you, if you don't even remember these things, then you can search for any internet what socket uses. Okay. So let's see. I mean, here, if they have more talk about this, what we are mentioning. Let me see if we have this is down something. Here also they are using this, and here you using type is equal to socket DGRM, the same one which I am using. Okay, this is for UDP. For TCP we have different. So if we will talk about DGP, TCP, then we will talk about that, right? So that's it. Now, what I wanted to say is my socket. I wanted to create a socket now with you and you, and let's create a socket. So the same thing which you can see here, how they have used here. So there they have mentioned about like this socket.socket. It takes two arguments. First is what address family you are using and what type you are using. You are using UDP or TCP type. Here I'm using UDP. Basically, we can write it in one line also. So there also you are using UDP server socket, but I have created a variable so that we can type here, let's say my AF to my AF and then my UPD. Okay, so basically I have used this. Now, what we are going to do is order should be my address family and I'm using this. Now here I am feeding socket. So here the same way you can see here we are feeding a UDP server socket. Now this socket I can give some name. So let's say here I'm giving my socket name as S. So that's because this maybe I will be using a lot of places. So let's see if our code is working fine. So till now our code is working fine. Now we will have to mention some more thing here. What would be our IP? Because here the socket which I wanted to create is I will need to bind it with my own operating system IP first. Why I am doing this? Because my kernel will know. Then only my kernel, wait, let me see. Then my kernel will know if someone will come to, let's say, port number 1234 in the IP, let's say this is my operating system IP. Then here with this one, I have bind a socket. What I wanted to show you this, I will show you. So first of all, we can find our IP with the command ifconfig. Sorry, ipconfig. This is Windows, so we will be using ipconfig, and here you can find this is our private IP of this operating system. IPv4 address I am using, and this whatever I have used in the code. This is for address family. This is for IPv4 address only. If you have IPv6 address, then you will have to use second address. Just what to mention with that. This would be the IP, and this I will also have to mention which port I wanted to run this. So because a lot of application might be running in this UDP protocol, and they might be running in different port numbers. So here I will have to give a unique port number. So this is the port number which I am giving 1234. You can give something else also. Okay, so port number I have provided here. And if you want to check about what are the some UDP port number which are in use, so we have a command like netstat. I hope you have used it. And normally we search for netstat TNLP. TNLP is for TCP and UNLP is for UDP. Here, I think it will run on Linux well. So let me run this thing in Linux. Here also, I think display all connection. I think -A I will have to use. Let's see. Some more thing I will have to use. So here in Windows, we have some other ways. So I will check it out. But till now, that time in Linux, we can see because in Linux, if we search for TA netstat UNLP, so here you can see in Linux it is talking about in UDP protocol. There are some processes running. This is process ID, and we can see these are something which are running. This is our this is my Linux IP, my Linux server IP. You can see a lot of things are running in UDP. Similarly, if you wanted to see how many processes are running in TCP protocol, so you can run for TNLP, and then it will say something on TCP. So basically, it doesn't matter much. You have to just choose a unique port number because two things can't have a same port number. Now, after doing this, what I will say is I will bind my socket. Why I'm using S here? Because here I have created socket and I have used stored in a variable S. And with which you will bind. So I will bind it with an IP and with an port number. So till now things are working fine. We are getting an error. So it is saying string object has no attribute port. Oh, sorry. I think here the comma not okay. So as socket dot bind takes exactly one argument given. Okay, let me check. Let's check here how we are binding. We are binding with local IP and we are binding with okay. Hmm. Yeah, that's done. So basically only one object it takes. That's why in one bracket we are finding we are just like we are just putting both the values. Now it is work. So now a socket is being created on this port number and it has been bind to my on private IP of this particular Windows. Okay, now I can do a lot of things. I can now use this socket for communication. How I can do? So basically, we have something. Let's say we have to send a message to someone. So let's say I wanted to send a message. Let's say MSG, a variable I'm saying. So how are you? This message I wanted to send someone. How I can send it? So we have for this we have a function in this our socket. We have a function that send to. Here I will have to mention to whom you wanted to run. And I have already mentioned if you wanted to send something or do something, then you will have to know about their client IP address, the port number in which their program is running, and you should have a network connectivity. So basically, you should have these three things. Basically, here I will have to tell about the IP and the port number in which my second thing will be running, right? So what I can do here is I can give here IP and a port number. So how I can do it? So just let's make this Windows server as client also. What I can do is I'm just creating one more Python application just to show you. This is a very what. Let me do in the same system for first. So that if you wanted to do this in locally, you can do it. How? Why I'm doing this? Why like from how I can communicate? How I can send this message from this tab to this tab. This is the second tab. How we can do it. So basically, the same thing I will be using in my this also. Let's say I name it chat app A, and let's say name it chat app B. This is my B and this is my A. Now my B also have the same IP because we are in the same OS. We are just doing communication between two tabs. But here for this one, I should use a different port number because this port number is already used by this software. What I wanted to mention. So guys, if you ever go to let's say Google, and in Google we create a lot of tabs. So here if you search about let's say Anaconda, let's say here if you search about let's say here if you open something YouTube. So basically Google server is only one. Okay. Now let me show you this. So basically what happened is we have only one Google server. Okay. Now in that Google server, what we are doing is you can see we are communicating. Let me different colors. We have uses a one tab. Here I am doing some different kind of searching. Here I am doing some different kind of searching. Here I am opening. I have opened a different website. Here I have opened a different website. Here I am using a different website. Here I am doing a different. Let's say here I am going with YouTube. So Google is only one. Like Google, this is Google server. But here I am interacting with Google server by different tabs. So you can take different tabs and different users. But you will never find if I search for YouTube and if I search for YouTube here and if I get some data from this website, you will never find this. Why? Because for different tabs, what our operating system do is for different tabs, our operating system open like this tab would be running on a different port number. This tab would be running on a different port number. This tab would be running on different port number. So whenever you search for, let's say YouTube, okay, whenever you search for, let's say YouTube, so here while Google will send you the data, the result, when you Google will send, Google will ask, when in which IP I have to send the data. So basically, we have a public IP here from my router. Let's say I have some IP, let's say 1.2.3.4. 44, some IP I have, then Google will ask which port number I have to send data. If mistakenly Google entered a port number of, let's say, this tab would be running on a different port number, believe me. This tab is running on a different port number, this tab is running on a different port number. If mistakenly Google, here we are searching for Anaconda, and if mistakenly Google send data, let's say this port number is running on 4567. And mistakenly here I am searching Anaconda, but Google has sent me the result in 4567 port number, then that result, here I am searching for Anaconda, but here YouTube will be open. Okay, so it would be a little bit messy, a lot of messy things will happen. To not do it, that's why different programs are running in different, and here also you can see multi-threading concept. This is running separately, this is running separately, all of them are running parallelly. So you will always see this multi-threading. Okay, and even if you go for buying any laptop, then it is very important to see how many threads it have, how many cores it has, right? So what basically we do is, here every tab has a different port number. That's what I wanted to mention. That's why from every tab we can do different type of communication with Google server. Somewhere we are searching for YouTube. In different tab we are doing, let's say we are visiting some other website. Okay, in third tab we are visiting some other website. Why we can do it? Because all of them are running parallelly. First of all, they are using multi-threading, as well as all of these three things are running in different port numbers. And that's why Google is able to send data like to respective tabs. It will never be like I am sending YouTube, but the result from Google server will show up here. Why not? Because both of them, let's say this is running in a port number 1234, this is running on port number 7657, this is port number 3769. Now you will ask me how, whenever I will click a new tab here, behind the scene, my kernel in my operating system, it will automatically assign a different port number to this tab, some random port number. And no two port number will never be same, believe me. So as I will click here, a different, like it is doing multi-threading, it will create one more thread, as well as it will be running on a different port number. Now here I can communicate to Google in whatever way I want to open. Like here, if I want to open LinkedIn, so I can open here LinkedIn. This is a complete different thread, and this is a different complete. This is a complete different thread, as well as this is completely different to each other. That's what I wanted to mention. So for chatting, you can chat between two different operating systems, as well as if you want to chat, then you can chat between two different tabs also. Why? Because both of them will be running on same IP, but they will be running on different port number. I hope it is clear. So let's say here, if I wanted to use port number 4321, now we can chat between these two tabs. Okay, we will see how we can chat between two within the same operating system. So let's say if I wanted to send a message to my second tab. So let me open second tab here. This is my second tab. This is my first tab. Let me send some message to here. And here I am binding my port again. Now it will send to some IP. I hope my voice is clear to you guys, right? Okay, that is clear. Let me know if it is not clear or some noise if you have. Okay, I think it is clear. So basically, if you wanted to send some data, so I will send this message data. So I will mention here, like socket, please send this message data, but to whom we have to send? So we have to send to this IP. Sorry, this is to this IP. Both of the IP is same because we are in the same operating system. But I will also show you how to communicate between different operating systems. And I will say I wanted to communicate to this port number. This is 4321. This is 4321. Here I am saying message. Can you please socket? Please can you send this message to this port number? And if it is sending this port number, then this should all also receive this, because if it is sending is just to. Now why it is failed? Why? Because if you guys know, so this is also a concept. Let me just tell you. So whenever we communicate between two things, so we guys know about strings, right? If I have written here, how are you? So we guys know this is something in English, but for computer, everything is in bytes, right? So it is not like if I have to send some data between A and B, it will transfer something like how are you in the network. It will be never possible because computers don't understand this. Computer understand bytes. That's why first of all, I will have to convert this into bytes. Then only I can send it via network. Similarly, if you are sending an image from here, which we will see in tomorrow's class or whenever we will have class where we will see video calling application. Here I am sending just a text, but we will also see how to send an image. So image will not send like this is my image. It will not send like this in the internet. It will be converted into bytes and then it will be sent to my B. Then my B will decode this byte to it will decode this byte to human readable form. Okay, and then human readable form, and then we human can see. Okay, that's why it is showing error. It is saying we can't do this like this. So for this, we have a function in Python. Even you don't have to import this; it is already imported. So we are saying message before sending this message, please import this and then send it to this IP and this port, and that's it. Here it is saying 12. Why it's 12? Because it is showing the number of words we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it is telling about this and it is done. But you can see here, my second system haven't received this yet. Why? That's what I wanted to, I was talking in the starting in UDP for A, it has sent its data. Now it doesn't matter to A whether it is being received by B or not. It got somewhere in the network, it got missed, it got cracked, it didn't receive by B, it didn't matter to A at all. A will just do his part. Okay, and that's the one thing, one bad thing on UDP. I will not say this bad thing. It is a feature in UDP for sending data, important data. You can use TCP protocol. Okay, but here we are using UDP, so someone should also receive it. Okay, from here, if you send it again it is done, but it is not received by B yet. So to receive it, we have a function here only. So here we are saying, please receive. Here if in documentation also we can find some data. So let's see if we can find something. Also, we are sending data, and if we have to receive data, so it is not okay, no problem. So fine. So it is not that it is not mentioned, but we can see. So here we can use a program like s.receive, and then we can store in a data variable because we are getting a data from A. How we can do it? So we can just run this. Here it is taking we need at least one argument. So let's say 2. A message sent on datagram socket was larger than the internal message server. Now, why we are seeing this thing? Because here we are sending 20 strings. Okay, it's not like that because one more thing which will be coming in upcoming. What will happen is what we are doing here is here as it's receiving from A, it will receive from A, but we will have to tell from whom you have to receive. Okay, but one more thing, let me check. We are receiving, sending it to 4321. Let me do one more thing. So this, let me check what we can do here. Okay, so now it is working fine. Okay, that was the issue. What basically the issue was, here it is sending 12 characters data, but we were receiving only 12. Which here we were just receiving the 2. That's why it was failing. Now here I'm saying, let's say if I want to keep 12 character data, so now it will work fine. Now what I will do here is it is still running. So let me send data again. Let me first of all, let me stop this and restart again. I will show you how we can do it. It's taking some time, so wait for it. Let's write some data to this. And as you will see, as I run this star symbol and what this star symbol is saying, it was waiting for the data. Now if we just data print data, so what is this print data? Wait, let me check. Now you see it is waiting for the data. As I will come here and I will see it is still waiting for the data. As I will post paste this, it will get some data. Again, this thing error because I need at least 12, I think. Now again, I will start this and then I will send it. Now it is received data. And if I paste here, then you can see this type of data we have received. What it is saying? It is saying I have received the data. How are you? In the bytes, it is defining that. And I have received this data from this particular IP and this particular port number. So you can see this port number is of port number A. This is not from port number B. So basically in data, we are receiving two things. We are receiving the data as well as the IP as well as port number. So now guys, even if you know a little bit about networking, so this is not basically a networking class, but if you know about networking, so whenever we send a packet of data, so there we have two things. First, we have their data, what we wanted to send. We also have from which it is coming from, like let's say IP and port number. Why we need this? Because let's say this one have to do some further communication. Then how it will do further communication if it don't have port number? Because I have already told you here, I've already told you with this example, everything is running in different port numbers. If you have to talk to this particular program, then you should know the port number of this program, right? That's why in the packet, it has sent me data, the IP and the port number so that I can send some data back to that particular server. I hope it is clear. Let me send some more data here. Let me send some data like, hey, so you will see what I will do here. I will again do data receive. Till the time it will not receive data, it will keep on waiting. You will see it is just keep on waiting. Now, as I will run this, it is done. Now again it failed because it is sending 16 data and I'm using 12 only. So basically a good thing would be, I will show you how to encounter this issue. Let's say here I am using 50 for now. So let's say here I will send this again, means at least 50 characters it can receive. Okay. Now let's say here we have data and we will print and then it is printing, hey, this data is being received by this. Now this is something like if you see in army, we have walkie-talkie. From one place we can talk, second person will receive it. But now how this person will send some data back to A, then only it would be a chat application, right? How we can do this? So it's very simple. So here, how I have sent here, the same way you can send here also. So let's say here I'm saying, let's say I am B. And here I'm saying I wanted to send this data, but not to this port number because this A is running on 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will send to 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's it. That's what we wanted to do. Just do it. Now it is done. It has been sent, but again, the issue with UDP is it has sent it from its part, but there is no one to receive from here. That's why it got missed somewhere in the network. But we don't want it. We want to receive here. So again, we can use the same line which we have used here. So we will say I wanted to receive data also, and I will be waiting till the time I didn't receive some data. So let me say if I have received some data. See, I have received some data, name is IMB, and that's it. Now here, so here we can do two-way communication. Here, this one can also send some data. Let's say it is sending some data. IMA. It is sending some data. So for this, it should have to receive this. So let's say run this thing, and let's run this thing, run IMA. Now it can also send some data back to this IMB, and it can IMB. Okay, so now this, if it's something like chat application, they can chat together, but it is a little bit manual. I have to keep on running this and then running this. So it is not a good practice, right? Basically, if you use WhatsApp, then they're very easy. Behind the scene, we just have to focus on our message. All the things will work. Keep on, it will be working, and we can do chatting for infinite number of times. But here I have to keep on running this manually, so it is not a good thing. But now, as we are a programmer, so we know we can use some loop concept here. If we want this function to be run for infinite time, we can use some loop. And that's why I have also talked about multithreading, because I want this repeat function also run, this send function also run parallelly, because this is what happened in WhatsApp. At the time you can receive also message, you can also send message, right? And both the things are working parallelly. So that's what we will be doing here. How we can do it? Again, it is very simple. So let me create a function here, because if you have to create a thread, then you will have to use a function. And let's give it a genuine name, like something like send, and that's it. Now, if you have to send some data, then we should have some message. So let's say your let's just name it as no, this was not to send, this was to receive, right? So let's use receive function here. Okay, what we are doing here is we are receiving the function. Now we just can do is we can do like this, but we wanted to receive infinite times. We want a continuous chatting, then we can use a loop here. And here I am using a while loop, and I want it to be run infinite time, so that I can do this chatting for infinite number of times. Okay. Now, if I have to, I need it, then I will just do like this. I can do this. I can delete this cell. So when I think control thing. There was some shortcut to delete this cell. I forget. So wait, what we will do is we will print here. What we will print here, we will print here D. Now this thing will run infinite number of times. How? So let's see. This function we have run, but we will have to call this function, right? Let's call this function, then name it receive receive. This function is now running. Now here, if I is sending some data, let's say A send IMA, so you will see some data IMA we will get. D is not defined. Okay. Okay, sorry. Here we will have data. Sorry. So now if I send some data, let's say IMA, you will see IMA has been printed. Now if I say, how are you doing? As I will say send here, it will be printed. How are you doing? Now if I send some data like this, now it is continuous receiving, because I have put it in a while loop, right? It will be continuous receiving. Now this A can send the data infinite number of times. Let's say whatever you want to send, it will be keep on sending. Okay, this is one of the facilities which we have got. Now I also wanted to send data parallelly. So how we can do it? So for this also I can create a function. So function would be something like df send function, because I am sending data here. And here I also wanted to run this in a while loop. So it will run infinite number of times. So let's do this very quickly. Now I don't want to send every time a same data. I wanted to send data what my user wanted. So for this, I can create a message. I can, if you know about the input. So I hope you guys know about this function input, very famous function in Python. With this input, okay, so this is still running. That's why it's not running. So I will have to manually kill this first of all. If it is not working, it's not in here also. Okay. Now if I have an input function, then it will basically ask user to provide an input. Here we can provide an input box. So it is something like that. Okay, so we are using this function here. I am saying user will input message, and then this message I will send here. Okay, and that's it. This message will be sent. And this is some receive function which we have created, and this is some send function which we have created. So let's create it. it would look really good. Now you can see in this chat, we have both the things. We have receive function, we have send function. But we want these both the things should be run parallelly, because if we don't have, then if we run this function, then only this function will be running. We have seen that in Python, right? So here we will be creating a threading. How we can create threading? So here we can import a library name as threading, which we have just seen. Import threading. Then here even we can copy our code which we have created here. And copy this code that I can show you quickly, because one more hacking I wanted to show you, which we can do here. So first task I am creating for, let's say, receive function, and the second task I am creating for, let's say, send function. Now I wanted to start both the tasks, and I also wanted to start both the function. Now it is done, right? Everything is working fine. RECV is not a function. Okay, I think I have to run this first of all. Now you can see we can do both the things parallelly. Now if I have to send, let's say, hi, I can send this data. Okay, name message is not defined. Okay, I have put some. Okay, the name. Okay, there was again a mistake. So let me rerun this. So what I wanted to show you, I hope it is clear to you guys. Let me just run it again. I just have a that problem. Let's see if I wanted to send here some data. Let's say hi. Now hi will be sent. Same time I can receive data also. Let's say here if I wanted to receive data, like something like that. Here you can see I can receive data also. And parallelly I can also send data. Hey, H. But this is not printing here because we are not receiving here. If we want, then we can receive here, then it will be printed. But it's not printing. Why? Because the reason is same, because here also I have to use same kind of loop. Now how I can do this? So again, same thing. So here we are encoding our function. So let's do one thing. Here again create a, let's say, a def function, let's say which is send. And here again I am using a while loop. True. So now it is clear to you guys, right? And similarly here I can do is I can here again create a function name as def receive, and here we can create a function name as while true, because I wanted to run it for infinite number of times, and that's it. Okay, yes, that's it. So here we have created a send function, here we have created a receive. And now similarly, I also wanted to print this data, whatever we have received. Now, what we can do is here also we will have to create a multi-threading, because here also I want in A also I want both the things to be done parallelly. Here we can import threading, and here we can again copy the code from here, because I have the more things to show you. Let's just quickly copy this complete code. Now, this complete code you can see here I have copied, and both the things will now run parallelly. Even if you see, if I run this, and run this. Now, here what I can do is here basically why it is not send me this one, because here I have run this first. Wait, let me just send some data to B. Okay. See here, he is coming continuous. Here you can see same data is coming. Why? Because by mistake I'm sending same data every time, but here I have to use the input box. I forget. So let's create an input box and let's create a message. Okay. I hope it is clear. So I will have to clear output and restart my cell. Now it would be a little bit amazing. And here I will have to, because a lot of things is printed here. Let me do these things again. Okay, that would be useful for you guys. Now you can see we have this thing. Now let's say run this also parallelly. Now both the one can talk. Hi has been printed. It will say, hey, how are you doing? And see, hey, how are you doing? I am fine. So basically, I am talking with myself here, but you can talk like, see here, they can talk with each other. And this is what I want to show you. This is something like which we have created it. Something like continuous prompt we are coming and we can do chat. So how's it, guys? So now if we wanted to send some data, then here also we can get some data. Here if you wanted to send multiple data, let's say this, you keep on typing. Okay, let's say you keep on typing, then that's not a problem at all. It will keep on printing here because both the things are running parallelly. So it's not like if I type here, then here also I have to type something. It is not like this. If from one place, if you want to keep on typing, then you can keep on doing this. It will keep on receiving this. Okay, it is very similar to what you can see in WhatsApp. Now, same thing you can integrate with a web application. You can create your own chat application. We know about Python CGI. So I hope like some of you guys know about Python CGI. Otherwise, in my YouTube, I have some videos on Python CGI. You can use it. So what basically will happen is you will provide an interface, let's say a prompt by HTML. You can input prompt there, user will type something. You will first of all type IP and port number where it wanted to connect. Then it will type something, let's say their message. It will go to your Python CGI, your Python server will send it to the receiver, and then something like this you can do. This practical will be, we will see in our, basically in our video calling application. So basically here I am sending the data in the text, but there I will send images. So that would be more cool. Now you can see, but it not looks good. Something like this, it keep on printing, right? So this not looks good. So for this, what will happen, we can do here is instead of printing data, we can do some data pre-processing. Okay. So first of all, here you can see we have there client IP. So we can create a variable like client IP and we will ask that in position number 1. So in position number 01, and in 1 also we have in 0 position. You can see it is 0. This complete is 1, and this in 1 also it is in 0 position. So here we can get the client IP. Now the rest of the thing, my data is there. So I can print something like sender. Not something. Just give it a good variable name. We should sender text, means whatever my sender has shown to me, and this is in data, and data also in the 0 position. And I also want to decode this because it not looks good. It is showing it in B with bytes. So I wanted to decode it. So I can decode it. Now it looks a bit good. Now if I have to print, then I will only print something like sender text. Okay. So here something like sender text. Similarly, let's do it in client view also. Very similar. So where we are receiving data, instead of this, we can use this. Now if I restart, clear my output, and here in my, here also if I clear my output, so you guys will see, now if I run this program again, and here also if I run my program again, now here if you see, if I print high, then only high will be printed. Now that complete will be not printed because we have done some pre-processing. We have removed that IP. Okay. So here let's say G. So only this message will be printed. Okay. I hope it is clear. But we have one more way. We can do one more thing to make it more something like WhatsApp. What we can do is we can also tell user from which IP it is coming. And so something like, let me show you how I can show you. So I can say, so whenever we receive some data, so it would be something like, let's say here, if I am also pasting, let's say here I'm also doing the client IP. Here something like client. Let me show you. It would be just to show a good UI. I'm just doing for that. And then for client IP, I can paste something like data, and then I will do something like plus and something like I think it's already done. So let me use here instead of here. Let me even remove this one. Something like this, and let me give some space, and let me print something like this. Now it would look a little bit good. Okay, to paste. Now if I just close this program for one. Now what we can do is here even you can create one rule also. Like when user will print, let's say 4. Let's say if you wanted to close this chat application in WhatsApp, what basically we do is we just come out from that WhatsApp application. But here, if you want, and you can create something like you can, if user will type something message like exit, then you can create some rule if statement here. If exit, then please close. Please exit this function. You can create something like that so that you will not have to come here and you will have to stop this again and again. Now let's see how it looks. So even I will print hi. Now here, if this user will print say something, let's say G, so it will print something like this. So this is how it will look like. Now it will print hey, hi, how. Now it will print something like this. Looks more good. Now, even if you are printing whatever data you are sending, let's say here if I am sending HHH, then it will printing something like that. But we can print here in the right side because in WhatsApp, whatever we are typing, it prints in the right side, right? So this is just to make it a little bit more good in the look wise. As otherwise, it is not that much important. So what I can do here is I can do something like print, and I can just leave some space and just give something like this. Now, if I clear my screen, then it will look a little bit good in readability. That's why I'm thinking. Okay, so let's see if things are working fine. Let me say hi. See, hi will be printing here. And let me print whatever it will print, it will print, it will keep on printing. Okay, this is how it would look like. Now it looks a little bit good while it is printing. So what we can do for this is typically whenever we have something, whenever we create something like that, then it will print here only. We will see how we can remove that. Otherwise, I have complete program for this, means complete code. Whatever we have created here, you can use that code directly, but I will say just develop like this from end to end. Now, till now, guys, if you have some questions on this, you can ask me. If you don't have, then a very important thing and a very quick hack I can give you. So let me know if you have something, some questions. If you have, then you can ask me. Here with UDP, we have created a simple chat application. Now, same code, whatever I have created, you can copy and post it in, let's say, a different operating system, and you can chat together. So if you guys are in, let's say, in a Wi-Fi zone in your college, then you can give your this code to, let's say, your friend, and then you can chat together because you are in the same network, right? So something like this you can make. So I hope it is clear to you guys. And if you have something, then let me know. Otherwise, that's how it looks like. Okay, I can't see any question, so I hope it is clear. Okay, great guys. So if it is clear, then we can discuss one more thing, basically about TCP, which we will be seeing tomorrow or whenever we'll have our second session. So just to show you a very quick thing which you can do here is in TCP we have session. So and session, why we have session? Because whenever A is sending some data to B, then we have to acknowledge that I have received here. And when we will acknowledge, then it is something like handshaking. Even if you guys have done some program on cryptography, then there we send a public key, right? And then we will also acknowledge, like yes, I have received that. Something is like this. Whenever we do something, it will create a session. And what does it mean is, if you guys know, here we as a user can go from our local system to the Google. Google is somewhere hosted in the internet. Okay, it is server. Whenever I will initiate a connection, so this is a very critical thing. So let's say this is me. Let me make it red because this is critical. Now let's say this is me and this is Google. Now Google can't come directly to me, means Google never can come directly to me. It's not like I am not searching for Linux, but Google will show me this Linux page as I will open like as I will open Chrome, Google will send me this Linux. Something like always and always, because your Windows operating system, Windows has make it very much secure. So no one can come from outside and can create a connection, a session. No one can initiate, I will say, a session, a connection from outside. Because your firewall will stop it. Because if it starts happening, then a lot of people can hack your system. But you can always initiate a connection with any server in the internet or in the local also. You can, if you will initiate a server, let's say if you will initiate a connection, then a session will made. Now, as you have, so here what you will see, if you notice ever, I have opened the Google. Now I am searching something, then I am initiating the session or a connection with Google by searching something. Now, as I have initiated this session, now Google can send some data to me because this was initiated by me. Now this could be done, but never and ever, if your Windows is secure, then no one from outside your firewall can come directly to you and create a session. This is the thing which make your Windows very secure, and that's why you will see normally in your Windows, if you can't do, if you don't change your settings or firewall settings, then we have less chances of hacking, because from outside no one can come directly by initiating a connection. Only you, when you will do some mistake or you will go to some random website, you are initiating the connection, then only they can, the session will be made. Now they can send some data to you, but before you do initiating the connection, they can never send data. This is the one thing. Okay. And but in case of servers, let's say Google server, in case of server, anyone can come and initiate connection with them. That's why you will see there is a Google server. Now anyone, I am anyone in the internet, I can initiate a connection by doing something. That's why in server you will see the server guys are very like they're very thinkful how to make it secure, because anyone can come out from outside and initiate a connection here, because they provide that facility, because then only a client can come to their server and they can see whatever they have hosted their web pages, right? Why I'm telling you this? Because this is very critical. So what happen is, if you guys know about, let's say, AWS cloud is somewhere in the public. So if I open my AWS cloud, so let's say if I open here, host my EC2 instance. Okay, if you know about AWS cloud, this is a very important thing which I want to show. If you know this, then you can do some crack if you want, or you can do some thing with your friends, but I will not say we do it, but we can do somehow. So let me create a just to create a server, I am creating EC2 instance in which will be hosted in internet. Okay, which will have a public IP, and in this firewall, anyone can come to this, but okay, anyone can come to this and initiate a connection. Okay, so let me start my instance and then I will show. Till the time, if you have something, then guys, let me know in the chat box. So, okay, it's pending. I wanted to show you this practical, then we can end this today's session, and then we will see how we can create. Now this, whatever I have, just wait for this, it will take 2 seconds. Now whatever I have shown you here, same way you can, like here I am just transferring some data, some string. Same way, because image is also byte, right? Image is also byte for computer. You can send image bytes to your client, your second server client B, and now he can use, if you know about OpenCV, then he can use OpenCV like modules to, or to show that, to open that image in his system. So it would be something like, I'm just giving you a homework if you wanted to do try from your side. It would be something like, this is your A. Here we have just sent text. But let's say here A will capture a photo in the real time. It will encode this photo. Now it will be converted into byte. Now with socket programming, it will send this bytes. It will send this byte to B. Now B will take this byte. We will decode this byte. So we can decode this byte. Now as we will decode this byte, it will be an array. An array will come up because if you know about uh, something like images, then it is an array only. It is just some numbers. Now as it will decode, it will be array. Now if you guys know about some libraries like OpenCV, or even if you know about file handling, with file handling you can open this byte and you can store in a file, let's say image.jpg. So a guy, your A has sent it a data, you are storing in image.jpg and you can keep on storing these images. But here if we use a while loop, here we have just send a image. But if you want to have a video call, here we will have to keep on sending images live. Here we can use a while loop. What while loop will do, while loop will keep on capturing photo, while loop will keep on sending this data. And here you can use a while loop to show that data in your screen with, let's say, CV2 library. We have a lot of ways, CV2.im show. We have a function you can search it out. I will show you again in the class. But if you know about this, you can check from your side. Now you can use this thing to real time show that A image, whatever A has sent it, or let's say A has opened his camera, real time CV2 is capturing the image, real time it is sending the image, real time you are seeing the image. Now the reverse thing you can do, you can also capture your image also, you can send to B, A, and you can run both the functions parallelly with the help of multithreading. And now it would be exactly like a video call. So here you are doing a video call. Okay, you are doing a video call because from 1 to 2, you can see your faces in the real time. Audio will be not shared because here we are just sharing the images. If you wanted to share audio also, you can do it. Very simple with the software programming, but here we can just sharing the image. So it would be something like video call. I hope it is clear. If you guys have some knowledge, then you can try it out. It would be something like what if you want from your end. Now let's open this EC2 instance. It's open. So let me open with PuTTY for now. Okay, so let me. Okay, I forget to mention about. Just let me open. Okay, so basically what we will see here, it is taking time, man. Yes, it is done. So I hope it is not visible to you guys. So let me change some settings. So, okay, let me change colors also. So that would be different from my second screen. I want foreground to be black. I want background to be white. Just doing some. Yes. Now what I'm doing here is, let me go to, let's say this here. Now here if I paste whatever I have created, the code which I have created here, if I paste here, so here I have created a application already, just same code which I have created, I have paste here. There is no difference. But here if you think, let's say your friend is on internet and you are from your local system and you wanted to do some chatting. So by default, if you are using UDP, it would be not possible. Why it is not possible? Because somewhere from the internet, this is very important thing. This one is from, this is in internet. Okay, I have public IP for that. You can go through it. From internet, he can't come. He can't come to your this local IP and send some data to you. It is not possible at all. Your Windows will never allow this. Even this is a local IP. Okay, this would be not allowed. Even if you paste here to your public IP, what is my IP? This is also not work. This will also not work, right? So this is a thing which makes your Windows. This is my public IP. Even if you paste this also, it will not work. But if you wanted, let's say you wanted to communicate between a server. So let me open. This is very critical. If you wanted, let's say you are user, and if you wanted to communicate with a server which is on internet, okay, it could be your friend also. So now you can never do it. Why you can never do it? From here you can send data to server, because your server like has allowed initiation from anyone. You can send data to your server, but as server will try to send you some but here, let's say here I am using the UDP protocol. Okay, so what will happen is, whenever in UDP you will see, okay, I will show you. In UDP, whenever you will see, whenever I am sending some data and when I am receiving data, this is a different connection. Something like, if I have to send some data from A to B, as I will run this command like send to, here you can see if we have a command like send to here, it will create a connection between them. It will send the data, and that's it. This connection will again cut off. Now, as we will try to send some data, then we will again have to create again a connection with A. Okay, and this connection would be not possible, because you guys know no one from internet can create or initiate a connection with A, with your local Windows. I don't know if it is clear to you, but it is very critical. In UDP, whenever I send data, this just done for one time. It's done, it's ended. Now, if we are to try again, then a new connection will make, and that will be ended. That's something like this. But if you want to have a continuous connection, then here you can use TCP protocol. Why TCP? Because TCP will make a session. What does it mean? If A will send some data, now this will be a permanent, till the time you will not close both the program, it is permanent. Now with on the same connection, you can send data, you can get data, 100 or 1,000 of times you can have in the same session, because it has created a session for you. Okay. But if you are using UDP, then it would be not possible. But in TCP, it would be possible. But in TCP also, your B can never ever initiate a connection. Okay, only when A will initiate a connection, then only a session will be made. Now, in the same session which has been made, now with these same session, you can see same pipeline. Let's say when A wanted to communicate with B, which is on internet, okay, and you are in local. So here, when A is sending a data, a pipeline is being created. Now this pipeline we can use to send some data from his side. Now A can use same pipeline to send some data again, something like this. But we can never create this pipeline. We can never initiate this pipeline. I hope it is. Now, this is very important concept. Now, what we can do here is, if you want to hack someone Windows OS, so by default, no one can come directly here. I've already shown. But what you can do is, you can create a Python socket program here in your Windows, and same in a server. Okay. And here you are intelligent, so you will not use here UDP. Here you will use TCP. What with TCP you will do? First of all, let's say you have got someone laptop for, let's say, 5 minutes somehow. So what you will do in that time, this is not ethical, but just telling you guys how critical it is. Let's say if you have Python, let's say you have first of all, you have created your own server, let's say in EC2 instance, in somewhere in the cloud, and here you have posted, here if you have your Python code on socket programming. So somehow something like this, which you can see in my EC2 server, which I have already posted. So where it is, where is my EC2 server? Where you can see where it is. It was somewhere, right? Where it is? I've got it. Let me check. Yeah, here it is. Here you can see, you can just write here code once. Okay. Here you can write, let's say your client, your friend public IP of his Windows. So let's say here I have my public IP, something like my public IP. What is my IP? So you can find your IP. Let's say here your friend have for first time. Here you have to mention your uh, client IP whom you wanted to, let's say, hack. So let's say this is some public IP of that person. Now the problem you as a hacker is you can never initiate the connection. But if you have got that, then if you have got that for few times, what you can do is you can post paste same code here. Now you can create a TCP connection. Here you will just have to send a data. Let's say you will send a data hi, and that's it. As you will send the data, now a connection is being made. Now we can send any data here. Now we can send any type of data here, and A will be able to receive it. Now here you can use some trick, and you can use some trick like here, whatever data you are send, like here we are receiving some data, right? Here we are receiving some data, but in this case it would be not just a data, it would be a command. And here, if you know, in we have command, we have a like we have a library like OS. Now, if you are good in CMD command prompt, if you know about Windows command, because for a lot of things we have command, we can see like here I have shown you stat -tnlp. You can see what are the programs running. You can close any program. A lot of things you can do. Okay. Now here you can use OS. Okay, and here you can use this OS module, and here you can use this OS module to run this. Let's say here, instead of providing any, like till now, let me show you. This is very cool. So let me stay here. Till now we were just sending some data, but now we will keep on sharing this command, and now this command will run on my friend, like on my friend operating system. It was something like, I forget the command. What was the OS model? Let me use sub process. This is also one library which we can use to run any command in your local system using Python. So it is something like sub process. It is something like here you can use sub process dot get output, and here you can paste this command. So that command will be here. So let's say instead of using this, now I will be using command. So now it would be something like this. Now what will happen is, you have what the thing you have used here is, you will type as a hacker from your from here. You will not, instead of sending some hi and hello, you will send some command. Your friend OS will receive that command, and it will run that as a command. Okay, and with this sub process you can run any type of command, even a critical command also you can run. You can check what are the things are running. Here you can also run, let's say here also, instead of sending some command, you can also send some virus also from here. Let's say if you just send some data, then you can use it here, and you can run that file. Let's say here, if you have created a file, let's say virus.py file, you can come here and you can run this file via this command, and it would be something like, you can from remotely, you can completely access a local operating system. I hope it is clear. It is a little bit critical, but we can do it with a TCP connection. Now you will say, if your Windows user will close everything, and he will shut down his operating system. Now when he will reopen his operating system again, then how this again, then if you will reopen, then again we will need this initiation from A only. From this local only, we will again need an initiation. How this will happen? For this, what we will do is, in Windows, even in Linux also, we have a particular, like if you will see, whenever you boot your operating system, there are a couple of files, there are a couple of kernel files which run behind the scene, which make all of your application ready. So even if you notice, sometimes if you open your uh, OS, sometimes Spotify will automatically open. How Spotify will open? There is a location in your Windows also, in Linux also you have. It is somewhere in C user system 32. I will show this tomorrow. In this location, if you paste the like the command, let's say here my command is, if I have to run my any Python program, so my command will be python p.f.py. If you run your whatever you wanted to execute at the boot time in this location, then every time, whenever whenever anyone will boot behind the scene, automatically this will be run. So means behind the scene, when any of operating system will be booted, if you paste the link of this particular script which we have created, will automatically run. And remember here, let's say you have a very static IP. So let's say here this operating system has a public IP. So I can find this public IP. So this is my public IP. Now I can use this in the code. Somewhere in the code I can mention, I always have to send to this, and instead of using input here, I can mention, let's say every time to just initiate a connection, I can create a message like initiating, whatever the spelling is. So initiating. Now what we will do is, that's it. That's it. You just have to copy this file and you have to just paste here, and you will have to like run this, like to run any Python file. We have a command python app.py. We have python 3 app.py. You will have to mention this in this particular location which I was talking about. How to do it, we can see this particular location. We will have to mention C user system somewhere here. Now every time as this will run, this receive function will automatically call, this send function will automatically call, this will message will automatically send. And as this message will be sent, now your server will have the capability. Now your server will have the capability to send any command from here, and it would be something like hacking. It can run any command in that host. Okay, so I don't know how much clear it is to you guys, but it was one of the things which you can try it out. Okay, it would be it. You can just do it as a practical to check about TCP protocol, but it would be something like this. That's it. That's how we can do it. I hope it is clear. So if you have some questions on this, so whenever I will be covering TCP, then this whatever I wanted to mention about initiating a connection and all, it would be more clear. Otherwise, I hope socket programming, UDP protocol, multithreading, some function is being clear to do. Okay. Now instead of this, like I am running both the chat A and chat B in the same operating system. You can run this in different operating system also. You should have a network connectivity and you can run. So this is quite simple. You don't need to do anything. I think here I have some files. So let's say here. Okay, so let me see if I have some file here. Okay. Let me share. I think here, let's say chat app.py. I have just converted this Jupyter notebook into app.py. If you wanted to see, not this one. Sorry, not this one. First of all, let me clear my screen. Something like same thing I have created in this file. If you want to run this, then it is very simple. You will have to just run Python chat app. Now the things will run locally. Okay, you can see it would be run locally. See here, you can see we can see a error. Why error? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, which protocol I have written here also, port number, socket port number is already used. So I have already told we can use one port number only once in a operating system. We can't use multiple times. Okay, Omkar. So you are saying that, can you please suggest us from where we can learn Linux command or MD? So in YouTube you can find couple of videos. Even in on Just on Linux also, I have few videos. Okay, so you can check it out from there only, where I have covered about Linux and basic commands. Even in YouTube, you can find a lot of commands in YouTube also. So if I want to just show you, so just quickly, I wanted to show you this particle which I wanted to show you here. Only once we can run. That's why let me open this notepad which was open. Let me open this again. So why here it was showing error, because I have this port number is already in use, so I have to use some random port number, let's say 5467. Now this should work because here I have used some random port number, right? So now see it is working fine. If I can I, then it would be shown somewhere in my code. So let me show you where it is. I can't find this. Okay, not here. My second screen. Okay, a lot of screen is there, so I'm getting confused between them. Okay, it's got. So here what we can do is same thing which I have shown between two notebooks. You can run from command prompt also. Here you can send hi, hello. It will be received by second thing, and it would be something like with command prompt also you can do. Okay, same program you will have to copy and you will have to use. Okay, this is quite simple, which you can check it out. Okay, so let me show you that thing. Yes, so here I think you can find this one is one of the video which I have created. So here you can learn more on Linux, which you were talking about in class. Okay. So in the chat I am pasting the link. You can have a look. Now, basically, do you guys have any questions, or we can end this particular meeting? So here we have just seen a full application. Now, complete code I have already posted in GitHub. So you can find the same code from GitHub. Let me show you. Let me stop sharing my screen. I will show you where it is. Yes, so here it is. So I'm pasting that link also. So in GitHub link, I'm pasting where I have the code for both person one and person two. You can find it from here. But I will say that please try to like do it from end to end. Okay, try to do from there only. Okay, guys. So I hope it is clear. If you have something, then let me know. How was the session? Let me know if it was helpful for you. And if you want some more things to be covered, then in upcoming sessions we can cover this. Okay, I will be mentioning the, whenever we will have our next class in your WhatsApp groups. Okay, so don't worry on that part. I will mention that thing in the WhatsApp group. And you can invite your friends also, because it's completely free. So if anyone wanted from outside, then you can invite. Okay. So okay, anything else, guys? Omkar, like, send me your WhatsApp number then. Please quickly send me a WhatsApp. That's just for your understanding that how TCP is critical, how TCP create a session, and which session how we can communicate in two ways. Okay, and how the initiation of session matters a lot. So that to show you, I have shown you that thing, but you can try it out how we can do it. So that's all, guys. Thanks for joining. We will meet in our next session. Till that time, have a good day. Thank you. I will tell you, Harsh about that. Okay, don't worry. Thank you. If you have some question, then I'm here for 2 more minutes. You can paste. Okay. Otherwise, you can leave.